Hello, and welcome to another edition of Beef Sticks Podcast.
On this special occasion, we look back, all the way back to the beginning of 2017. And then we look forward.
A time of myth and legend.
Many will remember it as the year that they remember like 69.
There was a summer. Me and the guys from school, we had a band, and we tried real hard. But then Jimmy quit, and Julie got married. I should have known we'd never get far.
You should have known, you fool.
Pasty White, you son of a bitch!
Fat Mac!
Quiet for too long.
You sexy motherfucker.
Can't handle it. Can't handle it.
Welcome, folks, to the 4th Annual BEEFY Awards.
Yes, the 4th Annual Beef Sticks Awards ceremony, where we hand out some of the best and worst awards you will ever see to some of the best and worst recipients that we can find, or at least scrape up.
Yes, indeed. It will electrify you like The Rock, who isn't on this list of awards.
No. Yeah, it's kind of...
And we won't pull no punches like Sam Roberts over there. Fuck.
Yeah, we ain't getting on our knees and sucking any WWE dick, alright? We're gonna call it how we see it.
Right. You want that kind of treatment from us, put us on your pre-shows.
Oh yeah, then we'll suck dick quick as shit. I ain't trying to doubt that. I mean, put us on there, man. We'll put you over. Whatever show, I don't care what it is. Some fucking backyard cockfighting event. Go ahead. If you fucking put us on there, we're gonna put you over like Rover, baby. Michael Vick's got a new dogfighting ring. We're there.
Let's go.
Oh, well, let's get right into it. Let's get rid of our let's get our sponsors out of the way. Let's self-promote some of our shit. Get that out of the way. We're not like some of those other podcasts where like 8 times throughout the show we're gonna drop our shit. We're gonna drop our load right away at the beginning, which is how I like to do it, and then we're gonna get on to the fun stuff. So I will start with letting you know where you can find us and where you can contribute to our show. If you go to the GoFundMe page, that's GoFundMe.com, and put in the search bar Cloud Style Broadcasting, you can go there and make a donation to help support our parent company, Cloud Style Broadcasting. Now, we say parent company. Cloud Style Broadcasting is still owned and operated by us two sons of bitches. So you're helping us with Beef Sticks Podcast, every other ventures we may come. It all stays in here. None of it goes to us. It's non-profit. Give a little, you'll get a lot. Trust me. Trust me.
Yes.
You can also become a Patreon. Patreon.com/CloudStyle. And you can sign up for a monthly donation there. That is Cloud Style, not Cloud Style Broadcasting. That is Patreon.com Cloud Style. Find us on
Excellence Simplified.
Damn right. Facebook.com/Beef Sticks Podcast. You can talk to us. You can give us questions. You can let us know what you thought of the show. You can tell us what sucks. You can tell us what we need to do different. Promotions. We can do polls. Anything you want to do there. We put little trivia, tidbits, fun pictures, videos, all sorts of stuff there.
Pole dancing.
And if you want to check me out on Twitter, it's Fat Mac. What is my Twitter? Hold on a second.
ESP?
I forgot what my...
No, Beef Sticks Podcast CSB.
It's Beef Sticks CSB.
There you go.
Beef Sticks CSB, CSB for Cloud Style Broadcasting. So, at Beef Sticks CSB for Twitter. Go on there. I'm trying to keep up on that more. I've been lax lately, but I'll get better at that. Find us. We're here to communicate with you. You communicate with us. I promise we'll communicate with you. Pacey?
Yes. What is that? Oh, it smells so good. Like fresh cut vinyl and spray paint. Of course, folks, I'm talking about Monster Wear clothing. You know, Christmas might be over, but it's never too late to buy your loved ones custom-made vinyl decals and hockey masks painted to your specifications with excellence in mind. Monster Wear clothing, locally sourced right here in the state of Minnesota, quick turnaround times, excellent products. Check them out today. Tell them Beef Sticks Podcast sent you. Now let's get drunk.
Yes. But to get drunk, we have to go somewhere.
Yeah. I gotta tie my shoe again.
Go ahead, tie your shoe.
I'm really bad at this. The best part is...
Well, he's tying his shoe, folks. If you want to support Beef Sticks or Cloud Style, you may come across some cool swag. Let me see if I can get it in here. Like this Beef Sticks podcast shirt. You get it personalized if you'd like. We got all sorts of stuff that's going to be coming out. All you got to do, let us know what you want, and we'll be getting some swag out there. We got some events coming up 2018. We're going to get some swag out there.
Swag! Not that hip-hop-y swag, though. That swag that you won't.
No,
now, in order for us to give you swag, we must get our swagger on. So we will take a trip to the refrigerator.
Refrigerator, why do I love you so? Because you hold my food and my beer, so you're my heart and soul. Refrigerator.
That song is exactly the right length, man. That's beautiful.
It is. It's perfect. It's perfect. I love the vocalist too. Whoever he is, we should find him, and he's got a future in the entertainment business. Let me tell you what.
Yeah, we should definitely get him to do the Beef Sticks Podcast theme song.
Of course. I'm thinking of some sort of like murder rock anthem. I'm just kidding. My niece would love it though. Shout out to Bizzle B.
Make it Bobby.
What you got over there? Thank you, Bobby.
Well, you see, tonight for dinner, I dined on an excellent homemade dish.
Pussy. You dined on pussy.
Close. Not close. Goulash. So, if I'm eating goulash for dinner, you could definitely take a gander and a guess at what I'm drinking. And that is a repeat, the final can of Surly Extra Citra Pale Ale, as well as a gentleman's whiskey, Black Velvet. Go out and get yours today.
Black Velvet and a little girl smile. Well, I decided, since it is our 40th episode, I thought I was going to bust out my old friend, and I was going to drink on another 40 ounce.
Oh, 40 for the 40!
This one's actually 2 extra. It's a
damn.
Extra.
You were talking about those too.
I know it. Well, I did Colt 45 last time. So I thought I'd do Old English 800 this time.
That's really the only other 40 there is, isn't it?
You know, Easy said it best when he said, Old English 800, yeah, that's my brand. I drink it in a quart 40 ounce or can. So, here's to you, Eric Wright. And,
yeah.
I mean, I can tell you about it. It's got a bite to it and it'll get you drunk. And it's cheap. But it's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's got a nice bite. And, you know what? Even though it's not good, I enjoy drinking these. And I don't know if it's because I grew up drinking these sons of bitches or what. But, like, the other day when I had gotten a Colt 45 and I hadn't had one for so long, I was like, God, I forgot how much I actually really enjoy a good malt liquor.
Oh, yeah. It's good shit. It's smooth.
So here's to destroying this fucker before the episode's over.
There you go. I got through my inherent vice
big mouth.
well before the show was done last week. I was proud of myself.
Got a big mouth on this fucker, so you gotta have a big fucking mouth to take it.
Man.
Take it all in! Take it all in!
Are you gonna butt chug that shit?
Well, you know, I'm used to you, Pasty, so I can open it up and let a big one in. You've got me into that. You prepared me for that.
You've actually developed to such a stage where you could just open and close it on command. It's magical. It's a thing to watch.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll put that on the YouTubes one of these days.
Yeah. Folks don't know what it's like to get your cock stroked by a throat. Rub that Adam's apple up and down on it, baby. Whoa. Son of a bitch. Man, we got a lot to get into. We don't know how long the show's going to be. It might be a half hour. It might be 7 hours. We're hoping for somewhere in between.
40 hours for 40 episodes.
It might be. It just might be. But, you know what? I think we start out with the Annual BEEFY Awards, also known as the Beefies.
Yes, the Beefies, the most prestigious award in pro wrestling.
Just to piss off as many people as I can with, why did they get that award?
Why'd they do that? Well, if you got a problem with it, join us in the comments. Live comments on YouTube and Spreaker. Become a part of the legacy today on this momentous occasion. It only happens once a year. It's better than Christmas.
Yep. And it'll continue to happen. Pace, do you want to start us off with the prestigious award?
Of course. And of course, big beef sticks. People are like, why are you beef sticks? You're a wrestling podcast. Macho Man Randy Savage, right? So the most prestigious award this year is the Macho. That's the Wrestler of the Year in the male category. And of course, the Wrestler of the Year is none other than the savior of the last 3 months, the phenomenal AJ Styles. This time it's for real, folks.
Right?
Styles began this year as the world champion, and although he lost the title in the Royal Rumble on January 29th, 2017, his reign was an impressive 140 days. Although he lost the title and went on to feud with Shane McMahon and defeated him in the match at WrestleMania, Styles then defeated Kevin Owens in a WWE live event at Madison Square Garden on July 7th to capture the United States Championship for the first time in his career in a rare house show title change. That was a fun day. Fun day.
That was.
Every time they do that, I'm so sad for myself.
For not getting out to those events.
At Battleground on July 23rd, Styles lost the title back to Owens SmackDown Live in a triple threat, also involving a returning Chris Jericho, thus becoming a 2-time United States Championship all in the first half of the year. He then went on to revive the US Open Challenge, where he saw some of the best Raw matches of the year. Then on November 7th, episode of SmackDown Live, Styles rescued the WWE Universe from a boring and painful Jinder Mahal Championship run, claiming his second WWE Championship and becoming recognized by WWE as the first title holder crowned outside of North America. God bless you, AJ Styles. You were the savior Vince never knew he had.
Saving us from the Jinder Mahal. just that alone, he deserves this. I mean, other than all the other accolades.
He didn't really save us. Jinder's going to be the next United States champion, and that's the picture here.
Right. There's probably 1 or 2 other people. We had at least 3 people we were debating over. But all in all, when you actually look at his accomplishments and think of what he's done, and to be fair, this was a pretty lackluster, rough year for WWE, and I think AJ Styles is one of the reasons it wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
He really helped us through this 2017.
Yeah.
And gave us great matches with John Cena and Brock Lesnar, just to name a few.
I hope that's not the last time. I want to see AJ beat Lesnar, like I know he could.
Oh, yeah. And hopefully his upcoming matches with... actually, the Kevin Owens match on SmackDown was actually better than some of the other ones he's had. I've been disappointed with his Kevin Owens matches, but they haven't been bad. I just know they can both do better, you know?
Yeah.
So moving on from the Macho, every man has his queen. And so the Elizabeth is our Wrestler of the Year Female Award. Everybody recognizes Elizabeth and Macho as the man and woman of pro wrestling. And although Elizabeth wasn't a wrestler, she was the one that let women become stars. Women were never stars until Miss Elizabeth was there. So I think all women wrestlers owe her a debt of gratitude. And we picked the Female of the Year, another controversial pick, to be Alexa Bliss.
Yes.
Now, there's arguments for others, but listen to us, folks. Just hear us out, okay? Alexa Bliss began this year as SmackDown Women's Champion. Wow, I see a trend. And even defended it on the January 17th episode of SmackDown Live against Becky Lynch in a steel cage match. The first ever women's steel cage match in WWE history. And I don't know if it was the first, but a rare main event on SmackDown for women. Maybe the first. I don't remember. There was a lot of firsts for women going on this year, so it's hard to keep track. On February 12th, Bliss did drop the title to Naomi at Elimination Chamber. On the February 21st SmackDown Live, though, Bliss defeated Lynch to capture the title for a second time after Naomi was forced to vacate the title due to injury, thus making her the first two-time SmackDown Women's Champion. All within the first 2 calendar months, folks. It's still February here, okay? After losing the title to Naomi in a 6-pack challenge at WrestleMania, so there were 4 other competitors there, she was shaken up, so to speak, in the Superstar Shake-Up to Raw, where she defeated Bayley to become the new Raw Women's Champion at Payback, becoming the first woman to win the Raw and SmackDown's Women's Championships. Bliss dropped the title to Banks at SummerSlam, but 8 days later she won the title back from Sasha in the main event of Raw, becoming a 2-time Raw Women's Champion. She's held on to the title since then, turning back challenges from Nia Jax, Bayley, Emma, and Sasha Banks. And Alexa Bliss is also the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion in history, holding the title as of today, which is December 28th of 2017, for 122 days. So, again, this is maybe a controversial pick, but I think the stats back it up. I think she deserves it. And that doesn't even include just how fucking entertaining she's been.
Right.
I mean, say what you want. She's a beautiful woman. But I take that with a pinch of salt. She is one of the most entertaining things on WWE right now.
You know, there's about 3 people right now who use a DDT successfully as a finisher, but I believe Alexa Bliss was the first of the 3 to use it in its full glory.
Actually,
again.
There's about 6 right now, but I think you're right. I think Alexa Bliss is the one. If you include NXT.
Yeah.
If you include NXT. If you don't, then it's probably about 3.
So yeah, I mean, if she can resurrect a dead move like that and have an amazing title run on both shows, like, uncontested, she's a perfect heel. Who adopts little blind baby pigs.
Who, yeah, by the way, is one of the most amazing and best people on earth outside of pro wrestling. And is just an amazing heel. She plays her part so well. So before we move on, Pasty, I think we should just let the folks know. Realistically, all we did is we're going alphabetically through the roster. So AJ Styles just got the male wrestler of the year, the Macho, and Alexa Bliss just got the Elizabeth. We're just going alphabetically. The next one's going to be Byron Saxton and Bailey, and it just goes from there. So you can just skip ahead about, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. All we're going to do is run down the roster in alphabetical order. I'm kidding, folks. If you're stupid and believe that and skipped ahead, fuck you. But you're not hearing this anyways because you skipped ahead. No, we actually put a lot of thought into this. Put a lot of research into what they've done throughout the years, rewatching things, checking stats, and debating amongst each other what's better and what's worse and this and that. Go ahead. Let's keep going, Pasty.
All right, coming up next is the Beef Sticks official two-piece, the Tag Team of the Year, folks. And the Tag Team of the Year, obviously, and stepping outside of WWE's roster, goes to the Young Bucks. The Bucks began the year as IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champions, but lost them immediately at January 4th's Wrestle Kingdom 11, losing them to Roppongi Vice. God, I love them.
Roppongi Vice.
Roppongi Lights. Then in April, they won the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships in the main event of Supercard of Honor 11.
11.
It was a year of 11s. Defeating the Hardy Boys in an amazing ladder match that had the internet blowing up quite literally.
Boom.
At the War of the Worlds UK Night 3, Matt and Nick would tag team with Hangman and Page to win the Ring of Honor 6-man Tag Team Championships from Dalton Castle and the Boys. This after having successfully defended the Ring of Honor tag titles the night before against The Addiction. Although they have lost...
Their six-man tag team name is just great. It's just great. It's the Hung Bucks.
Yep.
The Hung Bucks.
It's wonderful. And there's another million t-shirts sold.
Right?
Although they have lost the Ring of Honor tag titles to Motor City Machine Guns in October, they go into 2019 as the reigning 6-man tag champs. And not only that, but they're going to go into 2018 as one of the few superstars who can say they put on a 10,000-seat show.
Well, no, they're not going into that saying that. But at some point they will be saying that, yes. Because that is happening, and that's huge. I think just alone their entrepreneurship.
Right.
I mean, you could almost make a whole other award just for that, but they'd win it almost every year. Them or Chris Jericho.
Right. They've
turned the world upside down. When you go to Hot Topic, there's Bullet Club shit everywhere. It's fucking amazing. Young Buck shit. I did find a Los Ingobernables de Japón shirt that I really wanted to buy but didn't have the money for. You know what I found out today, Pasty?
What?
Maybe it was I found out yesterday. Los Ingobernables de Japón have 7 of the top 8 best-selling merchandise from NewJapan.com. So from New Japan's actual website, Los Ingobernables de Japón has 7 of the 8 best-selling merchandise. That's crazy. They're super over. They are super over. That has nothing to do with Young Bucks. I just had to put that out there. Yeah, I think this one's hard to argue. There are some really good tag teams in WWE, but none of them have really done anything great consistently.
Right. I mean, New Day is selling pancakes, and yeah. Young Bucks are selling millions of dollars of merch basically on their own.
Yeah, if this was just like the last half of the year, you could maybe argue Usos, but they didn't start out the year strong.
Right.
Young Bucks the bar didn't even exist. The bar didn't even exist at the beginning of the year, so they're a fairly newer tag team. The Shield hasn't gotten a chance to fucking form, them poor bastards. Because everybody keeps getting fucking injured. So, I mean, yeah, it's and there you go, folks. This isn't just a WWE awards ceremony. We got people and things from all over the globe. We look at wrestling. We don't look at WWE. We're not WWE's show. We're a wrestling show. And although WWE does account for a majority of the pro wrestling, I ain't gonna lie about that.
Right.
We look at everything.
We still appreciate it all, and we definitely keep an eye on where the pulse is.
We do. And that being said, we got an award for the most over wrestler. If somebody's listening to this and doesn't know wrestling terms, it's basically the most popular wrestler. The most over wrestler of 2017 by far was Kenny Omega, the Cleaner. You couldn't go to a pro wrestling website in 2017 and not see some sort of article about Kenny Omega. Whether it was a 6-star match with Okada, another 6-star match with Okada, a 6 3/4 star match with Okada, a 5 3/4 star match with Naito, whether it was him maybe going to WWE for the Royal Rumble or him staying with New Japan, his feud with Okada, the upcoming match with Chris Jericho, the feud with Chris Jericho, him becoming the very first United States IWGP champion here in the United States, in California, just a few months ago. This guy has been everywhere. I think everybody considers him, a lot of people consider him the best wrestler not signed to WWE. I don't consider him that, but everywhere you went, people were talking about Kenny Omega. AJ Styles, he'd go up and he'd go down. Brock Lesnar shows up for a cup of coffee. Kevin Owens is finally getting people to hate him. John Cena's here and there. Roman Reigns can't figure out if he's getting booed or cheered. I mean, I don't think there was any... To me, there was no other person in my mind that won this award other than Kenny Omega. Everybody was talking about Kenny Omega, the Cleaner.
And up next, we have the most heated.
I love your insight there, Pasty.
I know.
Yes.
Well, you said it all. You said it all. He had an amazing year.
I know.
He's been a huge standout. It's Kenny fucking Omega. I mean, you really don't have to say more than that.
Definitely the end all. It says it in his name, Omega. He's the end.
Some of these have had some stiff competition, like the 2-piece. The tag teams, they had a lot of stiff... We argued over it for quite a while. This one, it was hands down Omega. I mean, who else would you give it to?
And I think the one you're going into was pretty much hands down. I don't think there was a lot of deliberation.
I do have a B-side that I guess we didn't really talk about too much, but I do have a B-side. So, going into the most heated... That's the most hated wrestler of the year. For all you non-Mark folks, shilling your shuckles and your shucky-ducky quacks on the street corner.
After me strawberry schmeggles.
Oh, I love the Good Mythical Morning where they did that.
It
was terrible, but I loved it.
It was good.
But of course, the most hated wrestler of the year, and when you think about it, who could be more hated than the modern-day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Man, Jinder Mahal came back looking like a star. Actually, I think it was all in the span of this year that he was fired. Came back, swole as fuck, got a push, and ran away with the WWE Championship for, what, the last quarter of the year? 6 months? Half a year.
The last half a year. The last half of the year.
And, you know, in the beginning, I kind of denied it and argued, like, he's not on juice. He just actually cares about being a good wrestler. And, you know, over time, the pimples got bigger and spread all over his body, and the nipples got puffy. And
the veins were pulsating.
And isn't his hair like perfect? You know, so soft and shiny and silky smooth.
Yeah, he really got everybody. I mean, there's very few people that the internet can just completely agree on they hate. And he was it. When you have an Indian descent man and you can't even fucking win over the Indian fans. I mean, the Indian fans go gaga over the Great Khali. The fucking Great Khali. That man can't walk, let alone wrestle. And Jinder did not win over the fucking the Indian fans. Now, it doesn't help that he's not Indian. He's Indian descent, but from Canada, where at least the Great Khali was actually
Canada,
from
our home and native land, modern day Maharaja.
The best thing WWE could do was have the Singh brothers represent India and denounce Jinder, and then have him accept his roots as a Canadian and go out as a Canadian superstar, dressed in Canada and having the Canadian flag and playing "Oh Canada" as he comes out and shit.
Didn't Edge and Christian and them, didn't they have a Canadian stable back in the day? There was a Canadian,
Canada.
yeah, Team
Lance
Canada.
Storm, it was Lance Storm, Christian, who else was in Team Canada? Anyways, Team Canada, yeah.
Yeah, so just bring that back. Why not?
When?
We're in the generation of reboots, so reboot the fuck
And
out
he
of
doesn't. Yeah, and he doesn't need any extra people. It can be Jinder, his nipples, his pimples. That's Team Canada right there.
Imagine his pimples all come to life like Chris Griffin's pimple.
Right.
Not moving on, because we got my B side too.
Okay, go ahead.
Not only is Jinder Mahal the most hated wrestler of the year, but on the other side and outside of the corporation, I think we could all agree that Sexy Star would be the most hated woman of the year.
Oh, you know what? I never even thought of Sexy Star. She would be an easy runner-up for this, yeah.
I think she could have, if we would have given it more thought, she could have beat Jinder.
See, I don't think she has as many people hating her, but just because not as many people follow outside the United States, or more Japan than they do Mexico. But yeah, if you were talking about insiders, like people in the wrestling business, she would run away with this fucking award. You're right.
Yeah. So I tip my hat to her on this award as the runner-up.
Definitely. I think it's worth saying that. We don't have to talk about all the runner-ups because they lost. They're fucking worthless.
Yeah, you losers!
Throwing some more fucking... Yeah, it's worth throwing some more sand in the eyes of fucking Sexy Star because she deserves every little shit bit. You want to explain a little bit why she's the most hated for some folks who maybe haven't listened to her past shows or don't know what was going on with her?
I would love to, but I think you're more qualified to speak on the subject.
So basically, she legitimately injured another wrestler at a show down in AAA. She put an armbar on her and legitimately pulled and popped out of the socket her fucking shoulder. Just wrenched back on it. I'm trying to think. See, you said it, and I didn't have time to look it up. I can't remember who the wrestler was. It was a wrestler for TNA Impact, and I can't remember exactly who it was. But it's she legitimately injured another wrestler due to personal reasons in the ring, and could have broke her arm and could have ended her career. So when you step in those rings, you put your life in the hands of whoever you're there with. You expect them to take care of you. And the fact that Sexy Star went out of her way to not only not take care of somebody, but to purposely injure somebody is repulsive.
And I know I read something recently that she was at it again. I'm not sure the specifics on the story, but she was legit after somebody, and it pissed more people off. At least for a moment. It was a flash in the pan compared to the original story.
Oh, it was Rosemary is who she injured. Was Rosemary?
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I forgot who it was. Rosemary. I wasn't prepared. And I got a lot of names going through my head, but yeah. Just sickening, and yeah, that's a good one. I'm glad you mentioned that, Pasty, because this list is gonna take us a while, so we don't have to mention every fucking every runner-up, but she deserves that.
Yeah,
she deserves
I thought
to be
so.
called out
I thought
bitch
so.
The cunt that she is, and I don't use that word fucking loosely. The cunt that she is.
The winner of the See You Next Tuesday award, Sexy Star.
Maybe that's one we have to come up with next year, is a See You Next Tuesday award.
Right? For the 4th Annual Beefy Awards.
So, the fact, so we're moving on. Moving on
up.
Happier shit. And this one is the Slosh Award. And this one goes to our favorite drunk wrestlers. The wrestler that epitomizes our love of everything alcohol and beer and inebriation wise.
And if nothing better, the wrestlers we would most like to get drunk with.
Yeah, and you know what? In future years, that's not to say it couldn't go to somebody who's a pothead or a fucking or an LSD head or shroom popper. I mean, to the most part, it's just inebriation. Who is a fun, inebriated, entertaining? Who is entertaining when they're inebriated? And this one had a lot of maybes. I was going through and I was like, you know what? There's not as many fucking drunkards and users, at least publicly nowadays, as there used to be. We used to have Stone Cold Steve Austin. We used to have the Sandman. We used to have Scott Hall. We used to have a pile of people that just loved to fucking drink. But they don't do that nowadays. But there's a handful. And Pasty and I both said, you know what? We never see them drink on TV, but every time there's a podcast, every time there's an interview, every time they're doing a video, or just the stories they tell, there's always alcohol involved. And that's the Good Brothers. Yes, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. These two guys drink all the fucking time. They have so much fun doing it. The Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast with them on it. The Chris Jericho podcast with them on it. Just this year, those two are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I know on the Chris Jericho podcast, they actually have, which cologne is in WWE right now? Not Carlito. What's his, Diego, isn't that?
Yeah, that's one of the two.
Diego Colon. Yeah, Diego Colon. They have him there drinking with them on the Chris Jericho one. They're all getting sauced. They actually call up the legend Carlos Colon, the founder of WWC WWC World Wrestling Council. Sorry, I drew a blank there. Call him up, who's his grandfather, and they just fuck with him. And I would love to just go out and drink with and fucking have a.
It'd sure be fun trying to keep up. I'm sure we could. It wouldn't be that hard.
I know I could. I don't know about you.
I just have to tap into the old Pasty White. 2009 Pasty White.
I'm fine as long as we don't break out any joints. That'll fucking knock my ass out.
You'll hold on to that beer. Hold that beer tight.
That's the lush. I turned from a pothead to a lush. It's depressing and sad, but true. I'm not the pothead I once was, but I am quite the alcoholic.
And I am the mirror image. But every once in a while I can tap into it, and I think we'd have a fun night with the Good Brothers.
Fuck yeah, we would.
I bet we could get him into a shower with some steak and laxatives.
You know what? This is a shoot. This isn't a work. This is a I bet you we easily could get them steaks. The shitting, we maybe would have to trick them. We might have to play some fucking tricks. But to shower with us and eat steaks, I think we could get them to do it. Because they shower with dudes all the time.
Right.
You know, they're pro wrestlers. They're
like the last living vintage wrestlers. That's the way I look at them. Like, Ain't nobody like them anymore.
But yeah, you don't get them like that anymore. They all play video games and just make pornos.
Right.
You don't get the good old.
I mean, the Good Brothers read a lot of books. We learned that on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast.
Yeah, they do. Good Brothers, good times.
Yes.
You're up next, Pete.
I got that, son. I was lost for a moment, but I've regained my composure. Right. Yeah, right. Do I have composure? Are you fucking kidding me? Get this guy off the podcast. Our next award goes to the Hairy. That's right. The best facial hair in professional wrestling today. It's a shame we aren't more so in professional wrestling. That shit. Now, if you guys who had listened to the first annual Beefy Awards would know that in the past the awards have gone to such fine facial hair aficionados as the Vaudevillains. But this is years later, a number of them. The 4th annual Beefies. And the best facial hair of the year goes to Trent 7. Mustache Mountain, y'all.
Trent 7. They don't call him Mustache Mountain for nothing, motherfuckers.
He knows how to give a mean mustache ride. Just give him a pack of chicken and about $3.50, and you'll find out.
And you know, this was probably the award I was most disappointed in giving out, because in my head, I was like, pro wrestling has so many amazing hairy-faced fuckers that this is going to be a great one. And I went through and I was like, oh, everybody just has the same beard.
Right.
It's not that great. So there was only a handful of folks that had
definitely like
facial hair.
It wasn't Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, you know.
Right. There's only a handful of people, like any fans of my Fantastic Fables know my logo, which Pasty White actually made up. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And my facial hair is recognizable. That's my facial hair that's on there. It's just a stamp of my face. Actually put my face down on a fucking scanner, and he scanned it and then put it on there.
No, we did that with your pubes, bruh.
Well, we did do that also, yeah. Well, I don't have pubes. That was my ass hair. I have lots of ass hair, no pubes. And there wasn't a lot of people where it stood out. But Trent, he has not only the really nice mustache with the curl that Pasty and I like, even though Pasty recently trimmed his down, and he has a good beard on him. So he has both a recognizable stash and a respectable beard.
I may have trimmed it down, but I've got a strong mustache and it's already almost ready to go back. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? We didn't get along for a little while. It would curl back against my face and look retarded.
Mine does that. I had a spell where I quit taking care of them.
Yeah, but then you come back and it's like he hates you even more and really doesn't want to work with you. And so I'm just like, you know what? You fuck yourself. The next generation will listen better. Selective breeding, folks. You have to do that kind of shit.
So Trent 7, we give you credit. You actually take care of yourself and want your facial hair to be a part of your act. And that's what we're looking for. Make your facial hair a part of your act. And he does it well. God bless him.
Yes. There were some other competitors, such as Gentleman Jack Gallagher and the other losers. But Trent 7...
Marty Skrull has some good facial hair.
Mustache Mountain reigns supreme.
Yes.
Looks good on you, Trent.
And you know what? Just the fact that they had a team called Mustache Mountain gives them a head start. You almost have to recognize them for that, because we'll probably never see an official Mustache Mountain again for quite a while. So, yes.
I want to build a facial hair themed theme park, and we'll have Mustache Mountain be a ride.
Yep.
Yep.
Sami Zayn would say, yep.
Yup. You gotta get the arms in it.
Yup.
Yup. There's video going on. Yup.
Yup. Yup. He doesn't do the arms anymore. He just stands there and says, yep. That's all he does. Moving on, we have the Mick Foley Award. I'm sure y'all can guess what that is. We almost called it the Tooth and the Nose Award, but we didn't. That is the Hardcore Match of the Year.
The Lend Me Your Ear Award.
The Hardcore Wrestler of the Year. And Mick Foley definitely, for our generation, I think he is the iconic hardcore wrestler.
The embodiment of hardcore.
So that one goes this year. You know what? You couldn't give it to anybody in WWE. You couldn't. They didn't allow us. They excluded themselves. They took themselves out of the running. So this year, the Hardcore Wrestler of the Year goes to Jimmy Havoc. A lot of you folks listening probably don't know Jimmy Havoc. Jimmy Havoc is not only a really good wrestler, but he goes above and beyond. He is hardcore. He is extreme. He is whatever adjective you want to use to describe a wrestler who puts his trade before his body. He is the 2017 CZW, or Combat Zone Wrestling, Tournament of Death winner, and he has had some of the most brutal matches this year. He became the first Anarchy Pro champion. That is think CZW in the United Kingdom. It's a hardcore wrestling organization for British folk. And it's not all tea and crumpets. At Violent Night Holy Night, or Violent Night Unholy Night, which I love the name of that event. At Violent Night Unholy Night, he beat Drew Parker in an insane death match. Blood everywhere. Crimson masks were a must. Like it was fucking, like it was Carrie on steroids. He also teamed with Primate to beat War Machine for the WCPW Tag Team Championships. It's hard to explain how great a hardcore wrestler is, so go on YouTube, search Jimmy Havoc, and see a lot of his ruthlessness, because this motherfucker will bleed just to see you smile.
Right. And I mean, if you want to just see blood, watch CZW. They've turned out superstars like Dean Ambrose and more.
Yeah, and more. How about Luke Harper, who was Brody Lee? Luke Harper used to wrestle in CZW.
I learned something new.
There you go.
I liked Dean Ambrose's drunk match, where every X amount they had to take the shot, and the other guy kept throwing it out.
Yes.
Beautiful match.
CZW is a underrated promotion. A lot of folks don't even know it exists.
It's a good thing, though, because if they had too much forward momentum, people would be trying to shut them down so much.
Yeah. If they were commercial, people would try to censor them. I'll tell you what. If you want a glimpse of it, don't even go on YouTube. Well, maybe it's on YouTube, but find the Vice. Actually, I think it's on YouTube. Vice, like Vice TV. If people know Vice.
Yes,
right?
I watched that.
Everybody knows the channel Vice.
Yes.
They have a documentary. It's a few years old now, but they have a documentary about CZW. So just look up Vice CZW. I bet you'll find it. It's extremely informative, very entertaining. I got a handful of CZW DVDs. I have a best of the Tournament of Death. I have a few of their special shows. It's good shit. It's good shit. It's some of it can be cringy.
Yeah.
Not all of it's super hardcore. It's kind of like the old ECW. They have some really good wrestling that doesn't involve any hardcore, and then they got some really super crazy shit where you're cutting the fuck out of yourself and
They allow the fans to bring weapons they want them to use, and they use them.
They have matches called Fans Bring Weapons matches, where the fans bring whatever weapons they want and the wrestlers use them. They're not gimmicked or nothing. So if you're not into that, and a lot of people aren't, don't watch it. I wouldn't recommend it. But if you are into something different, something
fucking
new,
check it out right now. Quit watching our show and go check it out right now.
Oh.
I'm kidding. Don't go. We need the views. We love you.
Love you. I love you.
Our next award, and might I add, quite possibly the least prestigious award on the board,
definitely
goes to the multi-time Jerry of the Week champion, who is now known as the Jerry of the Year. Who could it be? Is it Roman Reigns? Nah. He's done a lot of good. More good than bad this last year. No,
agreed.
Folks. Is it Bray Wyatt? No. Not even close. The Jerry of the Year award goes to Byron Saxton. And I mean, Jesus Christ. If there was a Jerry in the WWE, it would be Byron Saxton. Nobody gets shit on more than Byron.
Yeah.
Nobody fucks it up more than Byron.
I honestly think Byron is a Jerry from one of the dimensions, one of the infinite dimensions and into. I think he's the WWE dimension Jerry. I honestly believe he is. He has to be. He has to be. Just listen to any of his commentary.
I don't know why he's there. Why are you there? Why?
You know, at one point I thought Booker T was as bad as Byron Saxton, but then I was listening to What Happened When with Tony Schiavone, and Tony Schiavone made a good point. Booker T might not be a good announcer, but he's the only announcer who's just being himself. He goes out there and he says the stupidest shit in the world.
Shucky ducky quack quack.
By the way, he actually on Raw said, "Oh, he threw a right southpaw." Everybody knows what a southpaw is? That's a left. So a southpaw is a left. A term exclusively saved for the left hand, and he says he threw a right southpaw. But you know what? Tony's right. Booker's out there just being Booker. As insane as he isn't trying. He isn't putting on an act. Even Corey Graves, you can tell he's kind of himself, but he's trying to be the WWE announcer that McMahon wants him to be.
Yeah, the character.
Booker T is like, fuck it, you can fire me today and I'll be somewhere else tomorrow. I'm just saying what the fuck I want to say, nigga. And he does it. And that's Booker T. So I have to give some points to Booker T for being himself, where Byron Saxton is not himself. And he's not a human. He's a Jerry. He's a Jerry. The
Jerry of the WWE.
The Jerry of the Year.
Thank you for your contributions to Beef Sticks Podcast and Cloud Style Broadcasting Ventures and Entertainment, Byron.
So now we're going to talk something. This is going to be very controversial. I've said this about a few, but this is going to be very controversial. But I don't think you can argue it. We have what we call our snapback of the year. Snap into it! Which would be our comeback of the year. Who came back? Who made a bigger impact this year than they have in the years past? Who rose above what they were and brought themselves to heights never seen before or not seen for a while?
Of course that honor goes to Kane. Nope.
Nope. The comeback of the year goes to Jinder Mahal, and I don't think anybody else can get it. He went from a virtual jobber. He was in WWE a long time ago with 3MB. He got let go. He got brought back He was in the Superstar Shakeup, or in and he was a jobber. He was losing left and right, left and right, left and right. He left. He juiced up. He hit the gym. He came back, and he became WWE fucking champion for 6 months, headlining pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view. This guy, like him, love him, hate him, and shove him, he was at the highest he's ever been in his career, and that went from a jump from jobber to champion. Not even mid-carder to champion. Jobber to champion. Go ahead and argue. Argue it. I want to hear the argue.
Right. I think it's a huge comeback story. And as much as he is the most heated person of the year as well, you got to give it to him. The man made a triumphant evolution and became what he probably always wanted to be when he set foot in the WWE all those years ago.
Oh, of course. Of course.
It's huge. One day there'll be a special about him, and he'll be revered.
Oh, yeah. He might even get his own DVD yet. You don't know. And the thing is, too, I honestly don't think he's going to get the championship again this year. But I would assume he's going to be mid-card now instead of jobber. I would assume he's going to at least go for the U.S. title. You know what I mean?
He's in the number one, he's in that tournament for it.
He's in the tournament. Yeah, everybody's in the tournament.
It's going to come down to him and Bobby Roode, and I think Jinder's going to take it because he just had the WWE title, and still Bobby Roode doesn't need a title.
He could. Jinder could end up taking it, and that's almost where he should have went.
Exactly.
I'd be okay with him being that.
Or built him in more storylines. They kind of did the same thing to him that they did with Roman Reigns. You think about it.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we like you now. You're in the spot. And, you know, I was with it in the beginning, and nobody else was, it seemed. It was... And then the longer it went on, the less with it I was.
Well, from the beginning, I said I was going to give it a chance. I said I didn't like it, but I would give it a chance and see what they did with it. And then they didn't do or he didn't do anything with it. Somebody dropped the ball.
Right.
Because it didn't work.
Honestly, I believe it's 6 months that AJ Styles should have had the championship. But shit happens, and WWE's kind of making up for it now. And, yeah, good on you, Jinder Mahal. I think you're the only person to make this list twice. Which deserves an award in itself.
I would agree.
I hope you brought the salt, folks, because up next, we got the tequila shot. You need some salt, a twist of lime, because we're going to have a really good time. What made the biggest impact in pro wrestling this year? There was stuff. There wasn't a whole lot of monumental stuff. There was some really good matches. But when it all boiled down to it, and after we were done screaming at each other for 45 minutes.
There wasn't anything super big this year. This was a hard one because a lot of years there's like the WWE Network going in, Billy Corgan buying NWA, or, TNA going here, or, there was a lot of stuff in other years. There wasn't a lot of huge reverberating news this year.
Except for one thing.
We found one.
One that kind of rocked the world for a minute. I mean, we all knew it was going to happen, but when it happened and the way it happened, it made, I think, the largest impact this year. And that is Roman Reigns defeating The Undertaker. Undertaker laid down his gear and walked out, presumably to not be seen or heard from again. Except for now, we all know Undertaker's already confirmed he's going to be at WrestleMania, and who just made a comeback at Raw. You can't see him. It's John Cena. And I think this is it. This is that year.
And Undertaker is confirmed. Undertaker's confirmed to be at the 25th anniversary of Raw, the one that's taking place in 2 different arenas.
Where the story starts.
So he's already coming back then. At least to talk. I mean,
hopefully it's to scare and torture John Cena. That's what we all want to see.
Tombstone. Yeah, this one, almost.
How about Elias Sampson punching Cena in the face too? That was fun.
That was. Whenever Roman Reigns has been in a big feud this year, he's brought up the fact either he or his opponents have brought up the Undertaker.
Right, every time.
Cena's talked about it. And until it happens, we can leave 2018 or 2017 assuming the Undertaker has retired. As of now, we haven't seen him come back. So it's huge. It's huge. And just the fact of anybody beating Roman Reigns at Undertaker at WrestleMania, it only happened once before, right?
Right.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. All right, we got another award, and this is the Botch Award. This would be for the biggest fail of the year, folks. Get into your wrestling lingo so we don't have to explain everything. God damn it. So the Botch Award goes to Bayley and Alexa Bliss for the Bayley This Is Your Life segment. And almost, I'd lump in the whole feud maybe, but definitely the Bayley This Is Your Life segment. So, during the segment, Booker T said, "This is hard to watch." And that kind of summed up this whole feud. So Alexa Bliss did up, during this segment, Alexa Bliss trotted out a bunch of actors portraying Bayley's old 4th grade teacher, a childhood best friend, an ex-boyfriend. She talked about her best friend was like, "Oh, we used to ask you to go out and go to parties and go hang out and have fun. All you wanted to do was sit home and watch WWE Raw." So WWE kind of buried themselves by trying to say they were the uncool alternative to having friends and a social life. So right there, they hit a sour note. It dragged on far too long. Bayley finally interrupted it. She let it go on too long. If this was if we're talking about shoot, not at work, and let's say Alexa Bliss is out there doing this stuff, Bayley would have run out right away and said, "Hey, fuck this, man. Put it down." She waited till the end. This whole fucking badly written segment ended with Bayley's her ex and her best friend making out with each other in the middle of the ring. And this only led to a shitty kendo stick match where Bayley got the kendo stick, refused to use it, and Alexa beat the shit out of her with her own kendo stick. The segment was neither funny nor entertaining. It did very little to enhance Bayley's role as the too nice for her own good fangirl living out her childhood dream, and it didn't even help Bliss's role as the self-proclaimed goddess of WWE. It basically shit on both these two competitors.
And Alexa shit Bliss on Rock, This Is Your Life.
Yeah, the whole Rock Mankind segment, Rock, This Is Your Life, which was iconic. And Alexa walked away pretty unscathed. I think she walked away, cleaned her hands of it, and went on to better things. I don't think Bayley has recovered since. I think it has basically buried Bayley.
Yeah, how can her character ever,
And she's extremely talented, but, God.
It sucks. She went from having matches of the year in NXT to being the botch of the year in 2017. Yeah.
And I don't blame... Let me clarify.
Perfect example of sometimes it's better to just stay where you're at.
Sometimes. I don't blame Bayley, and I don't blame Alexa Bliss. I blame 100% the writers and the producers and the directors on this.
Right.
So this is a botch by WWE's front of the office. This is not a botch on Bayley or Alexa, even though that's what... The botch is Bayley, this is your life. But this is a botch on the team that wrote it, directed it, and produced it. Not on Bayley or Alexa. I think they did the best they could. And I think Bayley actually did a good job at trying to save it pretty well. I think she did as good as she could have done. But that was one of the things where it's embarrassing to be a pro wrestling fan.
And we mulled this one over for a long time too, because there's some good legitimate in-ring botches. And
yeah, you and I, we actually didn't come up with it until today, as this being what our pick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was today, wasn't it?
It was down to the fucking wire, man. Down to the wire.
Because there are some in-ring, like, actual botches, like moves or segments that were fucked up, like, or even promos that were fucked up.
Right.
But this kind of takes the cake.
Kind of makes me want to make a quickly added Thank God award for the year. And that is Thank God for the Measles for saving us from Sister Abigail versus the Pumpkin
Sister
King.
Abigail?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we could almost call this award the Matthew Award in honor of Matthew from Botchamania.
There you go.
We'll talk about that. I like the botch, but, you know, good old Matthew. God bless him.
Up next, we have the match of the year. And I mean, there's been some good matches. There's been some outstanding matches. And then there's been one legendary match. And of course, I'm talking about the fabled Okada versus Omega at Wrestle Kingdom 11. At 46 minutes and 45 seconds, the match was the longest in the history of the Tokyo Dome show. Dave Meltzer gave the match a 6-star rating. He added that Okada and Omega may have had put on the greatest match in pro wrestling history, folks. Had to get that out. And that it was the best match he had ever seen. The match was also praised by the likes of Daniel Bryan, Mick Foley, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and us here at the Beef Sticks Podcast. Because holy shit, I've never seen so much give and take in a match. It was beautiful. Yeah, nobody lost anything in that match.
It was, and it was the first of 3. And it's hard to decide which of the 3 are the best. But first
this was
one
the
you almost
first.
have to give the nod to.
Right. This was special. This was huge. And it impacted a lot of wrestling this year.
Yeah, the 6-star rating that Dave Meltzer gave it was the first 6-star rating in the history of the Meltzer star rating.
And boy, did it set the internet on fire.
Oh, man.
Like Paige and Xavier Woods.
Yeah. You either loved this match or you thought it was overrated just because it was Japanese. This was just, I mean, I don't know how to describe. Besides super back and forth, besides so many false finishes that you honestly think are going to be the actual finish.
How about the insane shit through the table and on the outside of the ring? Holy fuck.
You almost have to go and watch this match to, I mean, it's hard to just describe it. You have to watch it to appreciate it. This is 2 of the best in the business. This may be the hottest rivalry of 2016 and maybe 2017. Yeah, actually 2016 and definitely 2017, because they had 2 more after this. They had one at Dominion, which Okada won again, and then they had one at the G1 Climax, in which Omega finally won him, finally hit the one-winged angel. That was the one thing throughout the whole series. He could never hit the one-winged angel, and he finally hit it. I mean, anybody who listens to our show knows I'm a huge fan of storytelling in the ring. Neither one of these people speak English, but the story is so clear. When you watch this, you know what's going on between these two, and it sucks you in. The longest match in the history of the Tokyo Dome shows. Now, we call it Wrestle Kingdom, but it's been going on since the early 90s, and before that it was just called the Tokyo Dome shows. In fact, it originally started as a collaboration between New Japan Pro Wrestling and WCW. And they had a couple matches of that, and then it went on to its own thing as the Tokyo Dome show. Then they started calling it the Wrestle Kingdom. So it's been going on more than 12 years is what I'm trying to say. This is Wrestle Kingdom 12. It's gone on more than 12 years. But in that whole history, this is the longest match ever, and it goes by quickly.
Yeah, it's an easy watch.
You don't look at your clock. Yeah, you don't look
This is the match where if you got a friend or somebody who says wrestling ain't shit, you sit them down and you have them watch this. The 45 minutes is going to go by so fast, they're not going to realize it was 45 minutes. And I think their jaw would hit the ground for that reason alone. It's high octane, perfect storytelling, perfect give and take, brutal beatings. Like, holy shit, how did they put themselves through this?
Talk about strong style.
And I can't wait. Hopefully in my lifetime, somebody can top this match. I don't know that it's possible, but we can hope.
Hey, I'm holding out hope for Okada Naito. I'm thinking it might. I don't know. We'll see.
We will see.
So, moving on from match of the year, we're going to talk about pay-per-view of the year. Not just any pay-per-view of the year. WWE pay-per-view of the year. We decided to separate these a little bit because each one's kind of its own entity, its own head of the Hydra, if you will.
Yes.
So, the first one we're going to talk about is WWE pay-per-view of the year. And this one, again, this is going to be pretty controversial. It's a pay-per-view that never existed before and isn't going to be around this year. It might not ever exist again. This may be the only time we've seen it. The often laughed at title, Great Balls of Fire. Yes, folks, the pay-per-view whose logo was literally a red cock and balls. As much as we made fun of it, laughed about it, and said it wasn't shit,
it was the sleeper fucking pay-per-view of the year.
Oh my god.
Nobody went into this expecting anything. And
that might have gave it a little leeway because, like, WrestleMania, you expect the super heights and you maybe get, it was good. And this one you didn't expect a whole lot and you got, wow, that was great. So we ended up seeing Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins in a pretty good match. It wasn't the best match, but that was pretty good. Then we seen the Cass and Enzo showdown after Big Cass had turned on Enzo Amore. We got to finally see them fucking duke it out. We had the Bar defend their titles against the Hardys in a bloody Iron Man match. You don't get to see blood much, and this was blood the hard way.
Yes.
There was no blading. They got busted open, but it was awesome. And it was an Iron Man match. It was a 30-minute Iron Man match, but that's okay. A 30-minute Iron Man match that held our attention. It was good. We got to see Sasha Banks win the Raw Women's Champion from Alexa Bliss in a very, very good match. The Miz beat Ambrose to keep his IC title in a great match. And we got the infamous ambulance match between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. This was replayed for weeks later, over and over again. This was huge. This was a big beat.
This was the night that made me look and say, holy shit, I like Roman Reigns now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did that for him. And then we had Samoa Joe having probably the second best Brock Lesnar match of the year. And it was the best until AJ Styles faced Brock Lesnar just a month ago.
Right.
So
at the drop of a dime. It wasn't a planned match. So Samoa Joe could have had the best Brock Lesnar match of the year, if not for last minute changes.
It would have been Mahal. He would have had the best match of the year. So, I mean, this was this was the sleeper pay-per-view of the year. Nobody expected anything. I didn't. I laughed about it all the way through that Thursday before when we were talking about it. Pasty, yep. I was like, nah.
But as soon as you sat down and hit play, you were like, holy shit, this is serious.
Yeah, that next Thursday, I said, holy shit, we might have seen the best pay-per-view of the year. And I think we did.
Yeah, here we are 6 months later.
Big Balls of Fire, the best WWE pay-per-view of the year.
It really did. It set a trend, too, throughout the rest of the year, where there were these pay-per-views, and we're like, I don't know, man. And then you sit down and you watch it, and you're actually entertained. And I like that. As much as I would rather have, like, some strong build-up into it where I'm pumped, and it doesn't let me down, that's still a good feeling. When you're like, I don't know, I might have to fast forward through this, and then you can't take your eyes off of it. That is amazing. And yeah, Great Balls of Fire set the trend with that this year.
It might be the best thing for WWE to not have a Great Balls of Fire this year, because it would probably suck. And so just let them have one and let it be remembered as an amazing pay-per-view.
Right.
Because it does have a horrible title and it does have a horrible logo, and just let the pay-per-view itself be remembered as awesome. You know, don't sully it. Don't sully it.
You could maybe bring it back somewhere down the line if you're going to do the same kind of magic.
You could, but I'd say wait a while. Wait a good 5 years.
Yeah. Even longer, I wouldn't mind. But, goddamn, what a night.
Goddamn.
Goddamn. Goodness gracious.
Goddamn.
Goodness gracious. Great Balls of Fire.
This one, Pasty?
Yes, I do, sir. Up next, we got the NXT TakeOver of the Year. The NXT TakeOver of the Year, of course, is brought to you by War Games. Yeah. You know, this year hasn't been as impressive as maybe the last 2 years in NXT TakeOvers. But this night...
the worst year for NXT for quite a while, yeah.
And I think it's just due to talent being called up at wrong times and leaving the pool kind of questioning, you know, who is the next big thing?
Agreed.
And we don't have that. Before, the lines were clearly drawn, and there was a lot of big names on the show, and now it's in this transition period. But when the announcement dropped that Triple H was bringing back War Games, holy shit. You know, this is something we've been talking about on the podcast since episode 1.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot longer before that. This is something we've wanted to see return to the WWE. And the fact that it was on NXT TakeOver made it so much better. Because you knew it wasn't going to be toned down and bullshit because of the WWE main brand.
Yep.
It was what they wanted it to be. And I know there were skeptics. You know, they didn't follow the exact rules of the War Games.
I was a big skeptic.
Yeah.
I was a huge skeptic. Until the night of, I was a huge skeptic.
But, I mean, you had matches like Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream in an amazing grudge match that put both men so over. It was conflicting styles that just came together in such a perfect brilliance. And we all saw it going into it. We knew that these two, just because they were such polar opposites, were going to have an amazing match, and we were not let down.
It was artistic, is the word I think of.
Yes. Ember Moon finally won the NXT Women's title after trying for a year or better.
Yep. Yeah.
The fuck else?
And that match had Kairi Sane, Nikki Cross, Peyton Royce. I mean, that was awesome. That was the vacated title because Asuka went up to, she got injured, and then she went up to the main roster. It was a vacated title. And, yeah, that was awesome.
And then I fucking called it. My boy, Andre Cien, almost won the NXT Championship in a hard-fought and back-and-forth match from Drew McIntyre, who I still hope will be brought to the main roster so we can reunite the three-man band and actually make something of them. They could be the stable that takes down New Day. They could. Now,
it could be.
They could now. And I highly believe that this next year is where we're going to see the New Day kind of separate ways. They're selling pancakes. You ain't got much more to sell if you're selling pancakes. So...
Right. I hope they don't. I would love to see them be one of those groups that stay together for years and years and years to come. But yeah, I agree with you. I can see the writing on the wall.
Yeah. And Xavier Woods is in this United States Championship tournament, and although I don't see him winning it, he still could. And I would be hype as fuck if he did, you know.
Right. Oh yeah, I would too.
But obviously he's going to have to overcome Bobby Roode and Jinder Mahal to get there. Not in that order, because I'm kind of dyslexic sometimes and got it backwards, but I knew I was getting it backwards, so I got it backwards on purpose, which makes me a bastard. And then let's not forget about the fucking War Games match itself. It took people we couldn't stand before. Damien, Killjoy, Grave, Murder Ball, Warrior, Blood Guts, Muppet, and Wolf, and it showed you what they could be.
And you loved both of them.
Yes.
Yeah, you fucking loved both of them.
Breakout stars of the whole fucking pay-per-view. I got my hats off to them because it made a believer out of me. For the longest time, I thought Nikki Cross and Eric Young were the only ones from Sanity that deserved any recognition. They changed that for me that night.
People don't get it. People think like I hold grudges against certain pro wrestlers. When something like that happens, when there's two wrestlers or a wrestler, anything, that I just have nothing for and I have no time to fucking deal with, and I watch a match and they make me love them, that is one of the biggest highs for me as a pro wrestling fan. Because
it's really, it's not that you hate them, it's just show me what you got, you know?
Yeah, and when they do it, it's like, oh shit! Fuck! It's like when
oh yeah, we're gonna get swifty in here.
It's like when you're jerking off for months with your right hand, and then like all of a sudden you decide to switch to your left. It's like, oh shit! Boom! I didn't know.
I forgot.
That's what it was, and it was awesome. Yeah. It had War Games. I don't know. I don't have much more to say other than what you said, Loke.
It was great. It was a good night. It was some good wrestling and a fucking War Games match that's been long overdue. And I can only hope that WWE adopts this ideal. And there is murmurings and rumors that when Vince kicks this venture off with his own company outside of the WWE, that he could be turning creative reins over to Triple H. Please do. We love you, Vince. You brought us this far.
I'm still not sold on Triple H as a
He's doing great with NXT. Could you imagine NXT everywhere?
He's doing great with NXT, but NXT is made to be NXT. NXT is not the main roster. When you give Triple H the fucking pen to the main roster, that's different than giving him the pen.
It could be really bad. It could be really bad. But you know what? America took a fucking gamble on Trump.
Yeah, and that was fucking amazing.
I'm just saying it's not going to be worse than that.
So let's move on. So I'm going to talk about the best non-WWE pay-per-view of the year. And this one actually goes to a dual promoted show. And some of you might be thinking we cheated. It's a dual promoted show. Not only is it a dual promoted show, it was a 4-night event. But we shouldn't be punished for enjoying what other people decide to do. WWE can do a 4-night fucking Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah.
They could choose to do that. They don't do it. So fuck them. So, the non-WWE pay-per-view of the year award goes to the Ring of Honor and New Japan co-promoted War of the Worlds show. This was a 4-night main event co-hosted by 2 of the biggest wrestling promotions in the world. In fact, outside of WWE, I would say this is number 1 and 2, with New Japan being 1 and Ring of Honor being 2.
Yes.
And by gum, this did not disappoint.
You know, we gotta tell them the story, man.
We have to. That's what I was going to say. We got to get into the story. So, obviously, when you have a show like this, there's one night that is like your main all-encompassing night where you put on your best shows, but that doesn't mean it's the best matches. It just means this is what most of it's leading up to. So I told Pasty, I said, hey, ROH New Japan's putting on War on the Worlds. There's some fucking awesome matches that are going to be here. You need to watch this, and we'll talk about it. So I watched it, and then he didn't watch it, so I was like, next week, I was like, dude, fucking watch it. Similar to fucking Ring of Honor Final Battle. But anyways, I was like, dude, watch it. So then he went and he found it online. Because, you know, we don't have access to Ring of Honor shit. We got to find shit. So sue us. I'm sorry. So anyways, he found it.
Don't sue us. We don't got a lot of money.
And then he talked
Join the Patreon if you're going to sue us.
He was like, oh, I liked this match. I liked this match. And I was like, well, I liked this match. I liked this match. Well, neither of us jived what the matches were. Come to find out, he watched like night 3, and I watched like the main night. That had like.
I watched the show live from Canada. But it was amazing! And I took notes. I had a whole fucking 2 pages of notes. And it was fantastic and astounding. And then we got together for the podcast, and that was when we realized we had watched 2 completely different shows. And ladies and gentlemen, that is why this is the best non-WWE pay-per-view of the year. It was enjoyed in 2 completely different existences. And it was beloved.
And not only that, because for that reason, it holds a special place in both of ours' heart.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But you go back, and let me talk about it. Because remember, this is a 4-night event. I'm not going to tell you everything that happened. But listen to some of the highlights, okay? We saw Ring of Honor's Dalton Castle and the Boys defeat New Japan Pro Wrestling's Chaos faction, which consisted of Trent Beretta, Gato, and Rocky Romero. Then we saw the Briscoes, Los Ingobernables de Japón, which was represented by Evil and Sonata, who are an amazing team, and the team of the Beer City Bruiser and Silas Young in a 3-way tag match. Then, the following night, the Briscoes and Bully Ray were brawling with Los Ingobernables de Japón, which was Evil and Sonata along with Kota Ibushi. against Chaos, which is Trent Beretta, Hiroki Goto, and Rocky Romero with Will Ospreay, dealing a loss to the Bullet Club. Cody Rhodes, Hangman Page, and the Young Bucks. We also seen Marty Scurll defending his title against Matt Sydal in a wild ride. We had Hiroshi Tanahashi beating Adam Cole, who is now in WWE, folks. We had the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels holding on to the Ring of Honor title in a three-way against Cody and Jay Lethal. So you had Christopher Daniels, Cody Rhodes, and Jay Lethal. And we seen a Philadelphia street fight between Marty Scurll and Adam Cole, which Marty Scurll won. It was just, there were so many great fucking matches in these 4 nights. And a lot of you listening to this may only be WWE fans and may say, well, it's 4 nights, there's a lot of shit. A lot of New Japan, Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, a lot of things have multiple nights. They don't only do them in one night. This is pretty common. In fact, this wasn't the first multiple night event that they ran this year. So, yeah, this was actually a great pay-per-view. And maybe there were better matches. These had some great matches. But maybe there were some better matches. But the connection it has to Pasty and I trumps everything, because we'll always have this story that him and I have together that just makes this so memorable. Whenever I think of this pay-per-view, I'm always going to think of Pasty. Every time. Next year when War of Worlds comes around and they have their multi-day shows, I'm going to think of Pasty.
I'll probably watch the wrong one again on purpose. Coming up next, straight out the heart of the nice estate in the Union, the Mini Award, going to in honor of Minnesotans past and present. And this year, the winner of the So Damn Nice Award is Vern Gagne. Considered as one of the most important names in the wrestling business and one to train many accomplished names of the business, legendary wrestler and promoter Vern Gagne is our recipient of the first ever Beef Sticks Mini, which is a huge award. It's not a mini tiny little beef stick. You get that in Japan. Olympic wrestler, NFL star, trainer, promoter, wrestler, naval underwater demolisher, and my grandmother lived just 4 blocks from his house, and I remember as a kid walking with them and saying hello to Mr. Gagne. And just great. Gagne wore many hats and was more than successful at all. After his mother died, Vern left his home and was all on his own. He stayed in school, he took his vitamins, he said his prayers, and excelled in football, which is one more than Hulk Hogan ever did. Baseball, wrestling, winning district, regional, and state championships in the high school wrestling, as well as being named to the All-State football team. In 1943, he was recruited to play football for the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers, where he was named the All-Big Ten team to the...
Yeah, Big Ten team, You know what? My mom once said she took the All Big Ten team, but I think it was something different. I'm not sure. But she said she took the All Big Ten team.
So that's got to be something like Debbie Does Dallas.
Yeah, shout out to my mother. All Big Ten team. Take it. Take it all. Take all.
Isn't that what her tramp stamp says?
It is. Yeah, yeah. Well, you've seen it. You fucked her.
Black Velvet, folks.
Black velvet and a little horse screams. Where we at, dog?
After 1 year of college, Gagne enlisted with the Navy Underwater Demolition Team. After his tour was up, he chose to return to the University of Minnesota, where as an amateur wrestler he captured 2 NCAA titles and was also an alternate for the United States freestyle wrestling team at the 1948 Olympic Games. He later said he might have wrestled in the Olympics, but his coaches had discovered that he had earned money winning a wrestling match at a carnival, thus putting his amateur standing in question. Can't make money.
Can't take money. Nope.
In 1947, Gagne joined the Chicago Bears NFL team, but George Halas, the Bears owner, refused to let Verne do both football and wrestling. He had to make a choice. Verne followed his heart and his wallet and went to Texas to wrestle for the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA folks. In 2000,
not the niggas with attitude.
In a 2006 interview for WWE, Gagne's son Greg mentioned that wrestling was much better at a paying job than time playing football. As recently as the 1970s, it was not uncommon for NFL players to have a second job during the NFL offseason to help make ends meet. Woo! You could take it from here, homie.
All right. So Verne Gagne, he won the newly created Chicago version of the NWA United States Championship and soon became one of the most well-known stars in wrestling during the so-called golden age of television, thanks to his technical prowess, which wowed audiences. He was rumored to be the highest-paid wrestler. At one point during the 1950s, he reportedly was earning $100,000 a year. Might not sound much now, but in the 50s, that was fucking huge, folks. By the early 60s, though, the highly wealthy Gagne rarely wrestled, and he turned his focus towards building a wrestling promotion of his own. That resulted in 1960 when Gagne formed his own promotion, the American Wrestling Association, lovingly called the AWA by all of us that remember it, and instantly he became its top star. That same year, Gagne was awarded the AWA World Heavyweight Championship after Pat O'Connor. Most wrestling aficionados will remember that name. Failed to defend the title against the number 1 contender, who was Verne Gagne. Verne would go on to become a 9-time AWA World Champion. Some folks say a 10-time, but on record it's 9-time, which was a record for the promotion. He also had the 3rd longest world title reign in wrestling history, holding the AWA title from August 31st, 1968 until November 8th, 1975. That is a total of 7 years, 3 months, when he finally lost the belt to Nick Bockwinkel. So besides what he did himself, Verne Gagne trained in whole or in part about 93 different wrestlers, almost 100 wrestlers. We're going to name just a handful of them that you'll probably recognize the names of. His son, which was Greg Gagne, Larry the Axe Hennig, and his son, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, Ric Flair, Gene and Ole Anderson of Horseman fame, Dick the Bruiser, Jumping Jim Brunzell of the Killer Bees.
Dick the Bruiser, that's my porn name.
I bet it is. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Everybody knows Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Bob Backlund, the Iron Sheik, Blackjack Mulligan, Scott Flash Norton of NWO fame, Ken Patera, Jimmy Valiant, Baron von Raschke, Buddy Rose, and of course, Hulk Hogan. Vern Gagne is one of only 6 people to be inducted into the WWE, WCW, and Professional Wrestling Halls of Fame, and is also a Cauliflower Alley Club Lou Thez Award recipient. Even in his final days, Vern couldn't leave wrestling behind. Listen to this. This is something that's widely known in Minnesota, but not so much outside of the state. And I'm surprised how many folks don't know this. On January 26, 2009, Vern Gagne got into an altercation with Helmut Gutman, a 97-year-old resident of the Bloomington, Minnesota facility where they both resided. This is an old folks' home. This is like a, what do you call it? A retirement castle? What do you call an old folks' home, Pasty? Is it, I call it an old folks' home. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
So anyways, he lived in an old
nursing home.
Okay?
Assisted living center.
According to Gutman's, according to Gutman's widow, who was not actually present during the altercation, Gagne picked up Gutman and hurled him to the floor in a fucking in a damn body slam motion, then broke his hip by pulling back on his body in a camel clutch type hold. Neither man had any recollection of the incident. Gutman was admitted to the hospital and actually died on February 14th from complications from the injuries. On February 25th, 2009, the older man's death was officially ruled a homicide, so Vern Gagne murdered the cocksucker by the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office. But on 12th, 2009, the Hennepin County Prosecutor's Office officially announced that Gagne would not be criminally charged as a result of the death because of Gagne's dementia. He lacked the mental capacity necessary to have intended to harm Gutman. I love the fact that even when his brain isn't there, his body still knows to wrestle people. Like, he wasn't trying to kill this dude. His body, like, maybe they bumped into each other or something, and his body was just like, shit, right. Body slam, hammer clutch, oh!
It's like war flashbacks from Nam.
Yeah, and he was strong enough to do it. Like, I know the other guy was frail, but when you're that age, that you gotta put a little bit into it, right? Yeah. If you grew up in Minnesota, Vern Gagne, you don't even have to be a wrestling fan. You know Vern Gagne, you know AWA.
Right.
Almost everybody I talk to, their grandparents and great-grandparents watched AWA. I mean, it was just normal. It was what you did.
Right. It's a Minnesota wrestling promotion.
Yeah, and look at the people he trained. And it's not even the list of people who came through here. Talk about Scott Hall. Scott Hall got big in the AWA. Larry Zbyszko got big in the AWA. There was a lot of people who got big in Vern's promotion. Not even that he trained. I mean, it's huge. For the first ever 4th annual Mini Award, that's the man you gotta pick. He epitomizes Minnesota wrestling. To me, and to you, he epitomizes Minnesota wrestling.
Yeah. He's a legend, an icon, and somebody to look up to. Especially when you're in a nursing home. You can get away from murder if you take the Gagne plan. Yeah.
Truly.
Now, coming up next, we're coming into a couple of more personal awards.
A couple
brought to you from the heat of our loins and held up to you for your highest honor. Of course, we have the individual Fat Mac and Pasty White Awards. Now, we mulled things over, and for a while, my pick was going to go to AJ Styles, but he ended up actually making his place on the show like he belonged. So let's talk about a man.
I agree.
A man with two hands. A man who made history. My pick for the Pasty White Award 2017 for the 4th annual Beefy Awards show.
You son of a bitch.
Is James Ellsworth.
You son of a bitch.
Let's talk about...
Folks, I didn't know about this. This is a shoot. I didn't know this is who he was picking. Oh, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead. I'll let you go uninterrupted.
Let's talk about a humble man from humble beginnings, born from parents with no chins. Once again, a man with not one hand, but two hands. And that man can. He showed up in the WWE as a random jobber for Braun Strowman. And in that moment, he got over Braun Strowman with the crowd. It was the beginning of Braun's career. But in that moment, James Ellsworth was the shining light of the internet wrestling community. Shortly thereafter, WWE approached him, signed him to a 5-year contract, folks. 5 years they wanted to invest in this man. He went on to be a famous... Well, he went on to defeat AJ Styles multiple times.
Yes. Yes, he did.
He almost won the WWE Championship. He then turned his sights to the women's division, where he himself won the first ever women's Money in the Bank match. Not once, but almost twice. James Ellsworth is a god among men. Humble, everyday men. If he can do it, why the fuck haven't you? Get off your ass and show Vince McMahon you got two hands. Thank you, James Ellsworth. You have made our day and our year brilliant. By the way, James Ellsworth, folks, is taking booking for 2018 right now. At Booking James Ellsworth at whatever the rest of that email was.com. Check out his Facebook. Shill.
You know, for as much as I hate that, he deserves it. He deserves it 100%. He's right up there with the Bucks and Chris Jericho as somebody that said, you know what, I can be nobody in the Indies, and I can be somebody if I'm in the right place at the right time. I have nothing against James Ellsworth the person. I don't think he's as good as a lot of the people that are in WWE, but he found a way to get himself there and get himself paid. That's what you do as a pro wrestler. Fuck yeah. This is probably the perfect recipient for an award like this.
Especially from Pasty White.
I think this is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I don't have... When you said it, I'm like, oh my gosh. But no, you're right. He deserves some sort of recognition. I don't think there's anybody else, gender included, that went from such a low to such a high in this calendar year. Nobody. He did it. Wow. Fucking wow.
Yes,
I dig
indeed.
it, man.
I mean, you can't argue with it. He's just a guy. He's just a guy with two hands,
with two fists, with two hands,
and he climbed to the top of the ladder, literally.
Hey, those two hands grabbed the bracelet ring sooner than Cesaro did. Sorry to say it. So that leads me to the Fat Mac Award. And my award is going to Tetsuya Naito. Anybody who knows New Japan Wrestling knows Tetsuya Naito. Anybody who doesn't know New Japan Pro Wrestling probably has no idea what the fuck I'm saying. Naito is a former IWGP champion, former IWGP Intercontinental champion, and former IWGP Never Openweight champion. He is also the only wrestler who has held those three titles. He also held the IWGP Tag Team Champion and IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions with former partner Yojiro Takahashi, with whom he teamed as No Limit. Shout out to Master P.
We're just some No Limit soldiers.
Yeah.
I thought I told you.
In addition to those, Naito is also a two-time winner of New Japan Pro Wrestling's premier singles tournament, which is the G1 Climax, which they held for the first time a section this year in America. He is having won it in 2013 and 2017. And in 2017, he actually earned a 5 3/4 star match, which is the fourth highest rated match ever, let alone this year. He also won the New Japan Cup in 2016. And in 2016 and 2017, Tokyo Sports named Naito the Wrestler of the Year. This guy is basically the wrestler. This guy is basically the best wrestler nobody knows. If you're in Japan, you definitely know Tetsuya Naito. If you're outside of Japan, you probably don't know him. He doesn't show up on Ring of Honor cards. He doesn't show up on the Indies in America. He's basically just in New Japan. But he's so fucking talented. He's so fucking amazing. He's put on some of the best matches. He's done some of the best shit in the world. Tetsuya Naito deserves recognition in one form or the other. Shut the fuck up, you damn dog!
She's hyped for Tetsuya.
Damn it! Would you grab her and get her the fuck out of here? I'm gonna fucking choke her. Damn it! Sorry, folks. I don't know if y'all could hear the dog, but I heard her and she was bothering me. Fuck. Tetsuya Naito is my pick as the Fat Mac recipient of the year because he fucking deserves it.
Alright. And now for the final award of this prestigious night on the eve of the 4th Annual BEEFY Awards. The Beef Sticks Award, aka the Beefy, the Lifetime Achievement, highest recognition award in the industry, goes to the Macho Man Randy Savage. For he is whence the name has risen from. Without him, we would not be Beef Sticks Podcast. We would be fat and handsome.
Exactly. Exactly. Which we both are. We're both of those.
Rachi.
Rachi? Who the fuck is Rachi?
Boom! Faceplant right off the jump.
Rachi! Oh, that's going to be a new award next year. The Rachi Award. Rachi!
I'm dying over here. I'm dying over here.
Rachi.
Oh!
Rachi. Oh.
I hate you, you magnificent bastard. Aha! Randy Mario Poffo epitomizes what beef stick stands for. Wrestling? Check. Men? Check. Facial hair? Check. Machismo? Check. Loud and unstable? You bet your fucking ass! But the only thing that we don't embody around here when it comes to Macho Man Randy Savage is an extreme cocaine addiction. But that's just me.
Speak for yourself, Pasty.
From playing for Major League Baseball in the St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and Chicago White Sox, to wrestling as the Spider, to an on-air wedding, to putting out his own rap album, which I still listen to probably once a year. Be a man, Hulk! I love it. I love it. Savage's journey has been about as wild as himself. A man who always self-conscious about himself, he would walk into the ring on his toes to appear taller, and always wore a hat or bandana to cover his bald spot. Randy was a perfectionist in all he did. Steamboat once said of their iconic WrestleMania 3 match, "We were using the yellow legal pad and writing down steps, and we got into like 100-something steps. Finally, when we got the match top to bottom, he would then meet me and have me quiz him. And I would say, okay, I'm at step 55, and this is this. Now tell me the rest of the match." And he would go, step number 56 is this, and number 57 is that. We would go back and forth. He was involved in one of the most famous storylines in WWF history, teaming with Hulk Hogan in the Mega Powers. Then their feud breaking up. He was also involved in the first on-air wedding in WWF history, his marriage to Miss Elizabeth, and I think the only successful on-air wedding to date. He was an early opponent to and member of the iconic Now and the spin-off faction Now Wolfpack. I'm pretty sure that's NWO.
NWO.
Are you fucking with shit now?
Correct.
Are you fucking with shit now?
No, that's autocorrect there. It should be NWO and NWO.
I figured that was wrong, but I'm going to read off the teleprompter.
He was an early opponent to a member of the iconic NWO and spin-off faction NWO Wolfpack.
He won 29 titles during a 32-year career, including the WWF World Heavyweight Championship twice and the WCW World Heavyweight Championship 4 times. 4 times! A one-time WWF Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Savage was named by the WWE as the greatest IC champion of all time and was credited for bringing a higher level of credibility to the title through his amazing in-ring performances. I'm trying to mentally throw you a bone here.
Aside from championships, he was the 1987 WWF King of the Ring and 1995 WCW World War III winner. A major pay-per-view attraction in the 80s and 90s, Savage headlined WrestleManias 4, 5, and 8, being part of a double main event at the last of those presentations, as well as 4 of the first 5 SummerSlams, and the 1995 edition of WCW Starrcade, along with many other events. At the peak of his popularity, he held similar drawing power to that of Hulk Hogan. Let us remind you, he was posthumously inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015, his brand of manliness earned him the spokesman for Slim Jim Beef Sticks from 1993 until 2000, and that helped give us, as Beef Sticks Podcast, our identity as you, the fans, know it. Without Macho Man Randy Savage, there would not be the Beef Sticks Podcast that you know. We might be here, but we'd be different.
That is true.
And I think he earns this award. He definitely earns the very first Beefy Award. God bless the Macho Man Randy Savage.
God bless him. Rest in peace, sir. We love you, and we'll carry on your legacy proud.
We'll try. That's all the beefies. Let me get a refill, and I'll be right back, Pasty.
All right, folks. I suppose now's about the time. You know, snow's here, setting in. All we can think about is next August 2018, when the Galactic Get Down Part 3 strikes down in Dallas, Minnesota. We may be there entertaining. We may be there enjoying. One way or another, we will be there. You can't miss the Galactic Get Down. Brought to you by Seahorse Productions and Dead Larry, Vicarious Visions, and many, many more wonderful and brilliant people. This is a top-notch summer music festival, and this year being brought to an all-new location with running water on site, which is, you know, something we didn't quite have before. We still may do, but it'll be really nice to have it on site, as well as electricity at every campsite for those of you who find it so hard to rip yourself away from your world of electronics. Thus bringing the Galactic Get Down to new heights as a more well-rounded festival for the family. See acts like Dead Larry in the past have performed alongside Frogleg, Useful Jenkins, Kind Country, and many more. This festival ranges from a wide variety of music, from festival rock to hip-hop, to bluegrass, to country, to folk, to EDM, and more. The Galactic Get Down will melt your brain, and the aliens will not bring you back until the end of the weekend. Yes, folks, the Galactic Get Down 2018 in Dallas, Minnesota. When I read Dallas the first time, I got scared.
Right. I've actually I've been trying to find some wardrobes for this one. There's one that I found that I really want for the Galactic Get Down. So I'm gonna try to find a way to save up money and get this certain piece of wardrobe for the Galactic Get Down. We'll see.
We will see. All I know is I'm excited for it, and they just announced it. Early bird pre-sale tickets come out before artist announcements, and they will be the cheapest you will be able to get them. They go on sale the first of the year, folks, so jump on that while you can. I guarantee you it's going to be a blast no matter who they bring. It's always an epic time.
Oh
and being there last year, I can say that one guy himself said he would be there headlining this year's show. So we can see a repeat performance from him, as well as a lot of other beloved local acts and acts from around the country that you might not have heard of, but you'll want to keep listening. What a
And
great
that one
weekend.
guy is awesome.
Oh yeah. Dead Larry is fantastic. Every year so far they put on 2 nights of music in very original settings, and it's a fucking blast. Come live your mental wonderland.
If you go out there, if you go to the Galactic Get Down, I promise you that I will come over with a slap bag and let you fucking suck on my slap bag. I promise you. I promise.
I think I can promise Strata will probably be handing out Dutch rudders again as well.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's going to be handing out Dutch rudders left and right. He'll be handing out more Dutch rudders than I have slap bags to slap. But that's
so come on down to the Galactic Get Down. Get your bag slap and Dutch rudder. It'll be a wonderful time.
So speaking of somebody who can't control their fucking urges, Jeff Jarrett has finally returned home after treatment. We all know that he ended up having to, he ended up getting fired from Impact Wrestling, which they had renamed Global Force Wrestling, and then had to take away that title because they kicked him out because he had some unsavory performances. He's finally left treatment. We're hoping the best for him. Karen Jarrett shared a photo update on social media. Oh, excuse me. Which showed the couple laying on the couch together, and the caption was merely a hashtag saying, "All is right in my world." And we here at Beef Sticks Podcast are wishing Jeff Jarrett the best of luck, and we hope that he gets whatever help he needs and that he's on whatever path he needs to be on.
It might be time to drop the whole Global Force Wrestling thing, though. Just saying.
You mean by him or by Impact? Because Impact's already dropped it.
No, I mean by him.
Oh, him. Yeah.
It's already gone through its gold-selling scam phase.
Nobody's buying your gold bars, motherfucker. Some more good news. Assuming that Jeff is clean, I call that good news. Bret the Hitman Hart announced that he is now 100% cancer-free.
Yeah!
After 1 year of undergoing surgery for prostate cancer.
All he had to do was stay away from Seth Rollins.
This is so good to hear. This is so good to read. This feels so good to say. In her interview with Bloom's magazine, Bret had a message, though, for all men, and I want to spread that message through our podcast and through our YouTube channel, because let's save some fucking lives here, folks. Bret Hart said, "You know, it's so critical for me to stress that it's just a blood test," Hart said, as he urged men to get screened for prostate cancer. He said, "You got to go in and get a blood test. If you're a man over 40, you need to go in. Don't wait to be like my brother Smith, who's a guy who didn't worry about it, and it's too late now. If you've got prostate cancer, if you don't catch it early, you could die from it. And if you catch it early, you can live a pretty normal life. I would say I'm pretty close to normal. Many folks would argue Bret Hart's not close to normal. But that doesn't take away from the fact that, folks, get yourself checked. Find something close. The sooner you get it fucking found out, the sooner you take care of it. I'm so happy Bret Hart is 100% cancer-free. That's something you don't wish on. You wish on very few people. I recently found out that a person died of cancer, and it was a person that super deserved it, and I'm okay with it. And I'm like, yeah, fucking I'm glad he died of cancer. Good for you. But not everybody's like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Stu, you got anybody that needs to die of cancer?
Nah.
No, I super recently had somebody die of throat cancer. It was, and it was just like, dude, good for you. You deserved it. What are you gonna do? Lie about it? Some people deserve it. Some people don't. Some people do. You're up next, Pasty.
PWInsider.com is reporting that WWE hosted a Christmas party after Raw on Monday night as a way to thank the roster for working on Christmas this year. At this Christmas party, Vince McMahon personally distributed the very same steroids he's been feeding to Jinder Mahal for the last year, as they have now passed the approval testing period.
Yes. Not only that, they passed out New Day pancakes, and they passed out Paige's vagina. So everybody got a taste of a little bit of all of that. And good for them, you know. 'Tis the season.
Tis the season. In other news, New Japan Pro Wrestling is coming back to the United States for a special one-night event. The show is titled Strong Style Evolved and will not feature Shinsuke Nakamura. It will be held at the Walter Pyramid Arena in Long Beach, California on March 25th. The Walter Pyramid seats approximately 5,000 fans and hosted the two-night 2017 G1 special, which should hold a place in Americans' hearts, as this is the venue where Kenny Omega became the first ever IWGP United States Champion. Too sweet to that!
Yes, he was a Canadian who wrestles in Japan who won the United States title. Good for him. I'm excited for this. They've done so many moves to try to integrate themselves into the United States medium that it's not going to be long before New Japan is actually a competitor to WWE. I give it 10 years. 10 years and they're actually competing in a worldwide audience.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it for a second. In other news, according to NJPW1972.com, New Japan Pro Wrestling will announce a video game at the 2018 NJPW Fan Fiesta on January 3rd. The announcement is scheduled for 12:15 p.m. The event will also feature autograph signings and matches involving the Young Lions, not to be mistaken with the Young Bucks.
No.
The announcement, matches, and more will be broadcasted on NJPWWorld.com for the low, low price of 32 schmeckles.
Schmeckles. Well, that's how much I paid for my fake boobies right here.
I'd probably buy an NJPW video game. Hopefully it's not like the TNA video game.
You know what? I think it'd be fun. I bought the TNA video game a while back, and I enjoyed it, and hopefully I would enjoy the New Japan video game.
I mean, in the same respect, though, you can just go on your WWE 2K whatever recent year and download. No, either that or download somebody's pre-made character with moveset and everything already pre-built for you. I mean, it depends on what kind of person you are. I would probably shell out the money to support this, though. I would.
Yeah, it'd be nice for those of us who can to actually support it and keep the business flowing.
Anything to help out the NJPW guys.
Back to WWE, in an interview with WrestleZone's Brian Fritz, Big Show said that he said, I think my job, so to speak, whatever you want to call it, that last match I had with Braun Strowman, I kind of passed the torch to Braun Strowman. He's the next big monster. He's the next giant, if you will. So he's saying that Braun Strowman, he's basically saying what we all knew and thought, that Braun Strowman's going to be the next big giant.
He's not the next big giant. He's the current big giant.
Well, not until Big Show leaves. How about this? We talked about the Facebook series. WWE is also testing out a new YouTube series called Photo Shoot. which allows superstars to have a look at some of the most iconic moments of their career. As of right now, The Miz is the first star to feature in the series, and you can actually find it on YouTube.com WWE photo shoot, where Miz looks back on his some of his matches and comments on them. This sounds interesting. This is something I want to see on the WWE Network.
Yeah, why are they keep doing this content for free when you make us pay for this network?
They're working with YouTube to create this, because YouTube has this new thing where they make shows. They're trying to get into streaming, and they're paying WWE to get into it. So that's why. So WWE now has the network, Hulu, and YouTube that they're all fucking streaming on, besides being free on USA Network. They're spreading themselves awful fucking thin. Now, if they're considering starting a fucking football league, they're really spreading themselves super fucking thin. Think about it, WWE! Think about it! I gotta say about that. Go ahead, Pasty. I gotta try to calm down, man. I gotta try and calm down.
Pro Wrestling Sheet is reporting Impact Wrestling star EC3 has applied for a trademark to his ring name in an attempt to legally own it. According to the report, EC3, real name Michael Hutter, filed for documents last week. We should be seeing more of this, since Ed Nornholm, head of Anthem Entertainment, said that the new Impact contracts will allow wrestlers to own/keep their name if they leave. Which is cool.
Good.
They should. And it also always brings the topic of the conversation back to the place they originated. Why not?
The only problem is, it's like, if EC3 goes to WWE, are they going to call him fucking Derek Bateman again? Which was a worthless fucking gimmick. You know, they changed Drew Galloway to Drew McIntyre.
Right.
Which, to be honest, Drew McIntyre was big in WWE. Drew Galloway just happened to be bigger outside of WWE.
Personally, I like the McIntyre name better. Yeah.
See, I like Galloway better, but I think that's just because that's his real name and that's what I was used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you like the 3MB WWE thing, which is fine. And that's the same with this. It's like, how many people watching... Like, what's the ratio nowadays between people who know everything and people who know only WWE? Is Derek Bateman a better name to go with, or is EC3 a better name to go with? Because Derek Bateman did zero in WWE. EC3 did huge things in TNA. What's the smarter market? I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I don't know.
I would hope he comes in as EC3, but only time will tell.
So, on to the last, most disappointing and biggest news.
Paige gets banged again.
Banged again! Just weeks after returning to action following a year-plus layoff, more than a year, Paige appeared to be injured at Wednesday night's WWE Live event from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. Say it isn't so! Paige was teaming with her Absolution stablemates, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, against Sasha Banks, Mickie James, and Bayley. During a spot that involved Sasha Banks kicking Paige in the back of the head, Paige went down, and after her not being able to get up multiple times, the referee threw up the dreaded X sign to indicate a possible injury. Absolution was originally scheduled to go over in the match, which ended abruptly due to Paige's injury. Thankfully, the latest updates indicate Paige's injury is not as bad as initially feared. According to PW Insider, Paige suffered a stinger during the spot. For those of you who don't know, a stinger is just a sudden pinch of the nerve that goes away, and it causes temporary numbness. but she was not hospitalized. Dave Meltzer tweeted that Paige is quote unquote okay. Paige is reportedly being evaluated today, and she's being taken off the road for precautionary measures. Hope the best for her, because this would be bad timing for her to be injured after she just came back with a group.
Yeah, it's rough stuff. Like you never want to see it happen. It does happen, and it happens almost all too often, especially in the last few years.
But it sounds like it might be nothing, so that's a positive.
Let's hope.
Let's hope.
All right, now for the last segment of the night, we are going to discuss and make our picks for New Japan Pro Wrestling Kingdom 12. And for the sake of time, seeing as we're already at 2 hours and 20 minutes, I think we should go a little rapid fire on this one, and we can discuss it more after the event.
Sure, let's go for it. You know, I was hoping we could wait until next week to do this. The only problem is this happens exactly a week from today, but at 2 a.m. So the show will already be done by the time we put out our show. Only by a handful of hours. We'll maybe get a chance to watch it, maybe not. So I figured we have to make our picks now because the winners will be done by the time our show comes next week. So let's get it over with now. Let's make our picks. Both Pasty and I aren't eloquent with everything that's going on in New Japan, so a lot of this might be guesses. But let's fucking do it, Pasty.
Let's do it. Coming in first, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship, Roppongi 3K, that's Sho and Yo, versus the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt.
Yes. And don't forget that Rocky Romero will be in the corner of Roppongi 3K. He is the manager of those three.
That makes things interesting.
He retired Roppongi Vice and started Roppongi 3K, and he picked these two as the two to carry on the legacy of Roppongi.
Well, with what I'm hearing and what I don't know, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Roppongi retains somehow. Due to nefarious deeds.
You know what? I'm not trying to copy you, but that's what I'm going with. I think Roppongi 3K ends up keeping. I don't think the Bucks take the junior heavyweight tag team champions from Roppongi 3K.
Up next, we got the gauntlet match for the Never Openweight 6-man tag team championships. Bullet Club, the members Bad Luck Fale, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa, versus Chaos, Trent Beretta, Tomohiro Ishii, and Toru Yano, versus Michael Elgin and War Machine versus Suzuki Gun. That's Taichi, Takashi Izukiya, and Zack Sabre Jr. Versus Taguchi Japan, the team of Juice Robinson, Gotta Love the Juice, Raisuke Taguchi. You can tell he's a tag team star. It's right there in the name.
Right.
And Toga Macbee.
You did really good on that, Pasty. I am super impressed with how well you did on that. I am super fucking impressed on how well you did on that. You get credit just for fucking saying it right.
Do I get an honorary beefy?
You get an honorary beefy for knowing the Never Openweight fucking 6-man tag championship was for anyways. Because it's just a throwaway fucking championship. That's the TV title of New Japan.
Yeah. It's the 6-man tag team championship. There's what? 6 tag teams here? 4. But still.
Right. And it's gauntlet. That means that they come out one at a time. You know what I mean?
Oh.
It's gauntlet style. So they're not all in there together. It's gauntlet style.
Do the champions come in last?
Nobody knows.
Man, it's just being me, a white American wrestling purveyor. I'm gonna have to say the Bullet Club, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to say Elgin and War Machine too, but
I'm gonna say it's Suzuki Gun. Not that I've been paying a lot of attention to what's been going on lately, but I could see Suzuki Gun taking it. Of course, the Bullet Club are the champions, and I could see them keeping it. And you got Bad Luck Fale and Tama Tonga, who are two of the original Bullet Club members, along with Tonga Loa. You had Tonga Roa in there. A lot of folks don't know Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Tonga Roa are actually Meng or Haku. It's their son.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
So they're related to The Rock too.
I'm pretty sure Meng and Haku are not related to The Rock. Meng Haku not related to The Rock. No.
Blood brothers, yo.
Sure, we'll say that. What do we got next?
Cody versus Kota Ibushi. In a match that's being billed as Cody versus Kota Ibushi and not much else.
Cody versus Kota. The name of the codes. Code versus code. It's the Code Breakers. Code it up.
I'm gonna say.
Watch 1995's Hackers movie and see who wins the codes.
Kota Ibushi wins this one. That's my call.
Codes, motherfucker, codes! Kota Ibushi. I'll go with Cody Rhodes just because I think everybody's sucking his dick.
So you might as well too.
I don't see it, but you know what? Just because I don't see it don't mean I can't open my mouth and let it in.
Up next, we got the IWGP Tag Team Championships Killer Elite Squad. That's Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Lance Archer versus Los Ingobernables de Japón, Evil and Sonata.
Ingobernables de Japón.
I'm going with those guys.
That's pretty good though. You know what? I'm going with that also. I'm also going with Los Ingobernables de Japón. Evil and Sonata. These motherfuckers got it going on.
Yes, they do. Up next, now this sounds interesting. Hair match and no seconds death match for the Never Openweight Championship. Minoru Suzuki versus Hiroki Goto.
Okay, so I would just want to let American fans know what a no seconds mean. No seconds is basically a barred from ringside. So a second is who you have come with you to ringside. So if you have a no seconds, that means nobody else can be ringside. So it's basically, it just means there's no other people ringside.
I just think it's funny that it's a death match. And there's also the stipulation of your hair's going to get cut off. Like, dying's worse than that, though.
No, hair is worse than that. People have died. Have you ever seen a corpse? They're dead with their hair still on them, Pasty. It's a bigger thing to lose your hair than to lose your life. Let me tell you what.
I don't know who's going to win this one, but we're all going to win this one because it's a fucking deathmatch. and they're always wonderful.
I'll tell you, I'm going Hiroki Goto.
Okay.
You're going nobody?
My vote is for There Will Be Blood. If that happens, I get a point.
Well, it should happen.
And then we have the Fatal 4-Way match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Yes, friends, champion Marty Scurll defends his title versus Hiromu Takahashi. Kushida versus Will Ospreay. This should be a good match. Looking forward to it.
An awesome match. If you're a fan, if you're an American fan if you're an American wrestling fan who's a fan of the flip-floppy and tons of fucking holds and this and that, this is your fucking match right here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think out of this lineup, my money's actually probably on Will Ospreay.
Will Ospreay, good for you. I'm going Marty Scurll. I think he's going to keep it. I think he keeps this title. I think he earned it. I think he deserves it. And I think he keeps it.
Good on you. Good on you.
Yeah.
And rounding out the final three, we have the IWGP Intercontinental Championship versus Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Jay White. And with White being an honorary member of the Pasty White family of White names, not resounding with white power, my vote is for Jay White.
See, I'm trying to figure out. I'm pretty tight on this one, but if you're gonna go Jay White, I think I'll go Tanahashi.
Jay Wahuiji.
I'm pretty torn on this one, but if you're gonna go Jay White, I'll go Hiroshi Tanahashi. I'll go with him. I don't know a lot of Jay White. He's a pretty recent wrestler within the last few years. He got big in New Japan. He went to Ring of Honor for a little bit and has done some independence, but not a lot. But Hiroshi Tanahashi, which was, the biggest combatant, who used to be the IWGP Heavyweight Champion multiple times, I'll say he keeps it. I don't think Jay White takes it from him. I don't think this fucking gaijin takes it from Tanahashi.
Alright. Up next, we got the match that American audiences everywhere are raving about, and excitement ensues from the pores of the internet. Of course, the no disqualification match for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship of the World. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. Now, I love me some Jericho, but I can't wait for him to come back to WWE. So I'm going to go out here and say Kenny Omega keeps his title because Jericho's just there for a cup of coffee.
I'm going to pick Omega also, but I disagree with you. I think Chris Jericho is going to stay and do multiple matches in New Japan throughout 2018 until towards the end of 2018, if not the beginning of 2019, before he gets back to WWE. I agree with you. It's Kenny Omega. He's keeping his title that he just won, but I don't think Chris Jericho goes back for quite a while.
I want him back. Consider me selfish.
Oh, no, you are selfish.
And lastly, we have the match that could easily top the 6-star rating. If only. That's right, it's the IWGP Heavyweight Championship match champion Kazuchika Okada. I said that really bad, but I said it. Versus Tetsuya Naito. I don't think Okada drops it here. Maybe he does. I know it's going to be a fun match to watch.
These two matches, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, and Okada Naito. Fuck, those two matches. I go out on a limb right here. It's December 28th, 2017. I go out on a limb and say those two matches are better than anything WWE puts on the rest of the fucking 2018. Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, and Kazuchika Okada, Tetsuya Naito.
All I know is when Chris Jericho does come back to WWE, whenever that may be, he better bring Omega with him.
That's not happening.
It's going to happen. Sure as Daniel Bryan will have another WrestleMania moment.
I don't think this is the year for Omega, for the main reason as February is when his contract runs out, and I don't think February is when WWE needs him.
I guess I can see your point.
I think he signs for another year, which would be until next February, with New Japan. I don't know that, but that would be my guess. So who do you pick? IWGP Heavyweight Championship match. Okada, Naito.
Okada.
My favorite wrestler, my favorite current living wrestler of all time is Kazuchika Okada.
But every wrestler, living or dead, is a living wrestler of all time.
Yeah,
because they all lived at one point.
Well, my favorite living wrestler, who is alive and my favorite current wrestler is Kazuchika Okada.
Okay.
My favorite wrestler of all time is Terry Bollea, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Oh, so what do you think, Pasty?
I think it's going to be a good show. I can't wait to watch it. I know I got a lot to catch up on because I got to watch the Ring of Honor show as well. It's going to be a lot of stuff. I might not watch Raw or SmackDown. Only time will tell.
You know what? I would say if you could skip Raw and SmackDown and watch Ring of Honor Final Battle and watch New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 12, do it for next week. Because I think we'll have better stuff to talk about.
All right. Well, I'll do my best. With that said, folks, I guess this is the last time we will be meeting in the year 2017.
Oh my gosh!
40 episodes in. We've only just begun to grow a double chin.
40 episodes in, and we're ready to just fuck you out of our lives.
Right. 40 episodes in, just like 42-year-old AJ Styles, we're just hitting our stride. So make sure you tune in next week on the other side of the year transition for the first episode of Beef Sticks 2018. It's going to be a real Slava Naga. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you all for sticking with us through this whole year. It's been a fun, amazing, enjoyable year.
And we're going to get into so much shit next year. I know we've been talking about it for a while, and it's just got to start happening. We're going to start having more interviews on the show. I'm saying that right now. We're going to have more people on the show, more guests, more to talk about, new segments, different ways to project ourselves to you. If we can work our way into holograms and, like, hacking people's televisions and just showing up there uninvited.
Yes!
We'll get there. Thank you, Vince McMahon, for not interrupting our show this week. It's a rare treat, but God bless you.
And I appreciate it.
God bless us, everyone. From those of us at Cloud Style Broadcasting to you and yours, I would like to wish you a very happy new year.
I love you like a lovesick puppy.
And I love you even more. We out.